This is part two, Tony Bennett. There's a part one, and there's something in the middle, and then there's part two. There's something in the middle is rock and roll. There's something in the middle, and it messed a lot of people up. It did. You know, the music industry, take music out, industry. It's an industry. It's about making money. I'm going to say that. I'm also going to do a shout out right now that has very little to do with Tony Bennett and everything to do with Tony Bennett. Wynton has a new piece out that's called The Ever Funky Lowdown. I recommend it quite highly. Okay? Shine some light on a whole lot of things here, including what happened to Tony Bennett back there in the 60s. Well, record companies need to make money. And as trends go, they expect all of their artists to fall in line, regardless of what you want to do. They want you to do what they want you to do, and that's why Prince became the artist formerly known as Prince. Tony did not have that choice. He tried to do what they wanted him to do. They wanted him to start recording Beatles songs, Rolling Stones songs, and things like that, and they record some contemporary music. They always have that fancy word, contemporary. You know, what's contemporary today would be last year's trash, but they want you to record what is contemporary. And it was killing him. They did the Barbra Streisand and a few other people had them recording, you know, less than stellar material. And they all had the same result, didn't work. And all they did was sabotage their own careers and sell a few records and make themselves unhappy. And Tony figured that out very early in the game, although he did try, but it just made him so bitter and so sad that he just couldn't do it. And of course, the record company was like, well, if you can't do it, we'll find somebody that can. So little by little, he was marginalized until it got to a point that he didn't even have a recording contract or a manager or anything else. And by this time, I think he was living in LA. He'd done a couple movies and things like that, and had met a young aspiring actress at that time and got married and relocated there, and that relationship was falling apart as well. And because of all the doom and gloom surrounding his career and his ability to get out and perform, which he loved to do, he turned to what some people refer to as that girl. He had a little cocaine addiction, more than a little one. He almost OD'd. And at that time, one of his sons, Denny, got involved. He was like, oh, no. And of course, he had a band he had been working with. I think it was Denny and the Denny Duck and the Farm Animals or something. Anyway, it wasn't very successful, and the kid soon discovered that he did not have his father's talent. But what he did have was a business sense. After working in the shadows of the industry for so long, he had learned some things about the business. And of course, Tony, by this time, has tax problem. The IRS is always there looking for their cut. Whether you got it or not, they want their piece of the pie. Whether there's a pie left or not, they want it. And so he was fighting that demon as well. Things were just not looking good. His son came in and said, well, Dad, you know, I got some ideas. Back in the day, of course, this is now, you know, 79 or so. He'd been inactive for a few years, decade or so, pretty much. And I got an idea. Time passes. And there's a whole lot of stuff I hear passing as music that has no substance. And I think that there is an audience of people who would love to hear something of substance today. So I got some ideas. There's some late night TV shows like Conan and people like that. And we're going to get you on some of those shows where young adults watch. And they just might like you and welcome what you're doing to replace some of the stuff that has no substance that they're listening to. And it worked. And so he went from doing these little late night TV appearances on these late night TV shows that cater to young adults to MTV. Yeah, MTV. Who would have thought? This little thing, that little thing, something even with the Muppets he did. Quality wins. He even helped launch the MTV Unplugged series. And when someone asked him about it, he says, I've always been unplugged, because he's always believed in acoustic music. And so he did some things with K.D. Lang and a few other people. And that brought him a brand new audience. And then the people who had been his old audience, who missed him for 10, 15 years, they started coming back, looking at this new Tony Bennett. And the next thing you know, he's getting popular again. And he's performing to a wider audience than ever before. And he's making money again. And he's traveling, and he's happy, and he's healthy, and things are going, and his fortunes go from the IRS about to take everything to he's got like $15 million in the bank just sitting there. Oh yeah, it's nice to have a son who knew enough about the music industry, who knew that he did not have the talent to do it himself, but recognized the talent his father had and how he could maneuver that into some places where he could seriously get paid, like we say today. And this thing worked. And so now Tony can get back into doing some jazz and doing live concerts and live festivals. Even the Clearwater Jazz Holiday, I think 2008, I was told. Yeah. Now everybody knows that one of his signature songs is I Left My Heart in San Francisco. But not many people know that every time he does a performance, he always proves that he is unplugged. Now, I've forgotten the name of the tune. I have so much to remember. But he will always walk away from the microphone, walk away from amplification, and just sing in his natural acoustic voice and feel the entire place, whether it's inside or outside, so people can hear the power of his vocal projection acoustically, what his training in the bel canto style has given him that enables him to still sing with the highest level of quality and excellence even into his 90s. He still loves his country, and he still fights for great causes. A few years ago, he met a young lady, Sarah Crow, I think her name was. She was a young teacher. As it turns out, she was the head of a fan club in the Bay Area, the Tony Bennett Fan Club. And they started seeing each other. It was soon discovered that Tony Bennett had taken a picture with Miss Crow's mother way back in the day, when Miss Crow was in her mother's belly. Yeah, her mother was pregnant with her. And she showed him the picture. They are actually 40 years difference in their ages. Yet, That relationship blossomed, and they got married about 15 years ago. That's right, they did. And they helped launch a couple of great charities. One that provides assistance in the arts to young kids through a charity, and the other was to establish the Frank Sinatra School of the Arts. That's Tony Bennett and his new young wife, age don't mean a thing, working together to do what Tony has always been about, loving his country and playing it forward and supporting the arts and supporting the least among us and working for justice and enlightenment and love, regardless of the age. And there's no better way to do all of that than to support the arts. So I'm going to make this appeal to everybody. Be more like Tony Bennett and continue to support the arts. And I can't think of a better way to do it than support the mission of the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation. I think Mr. Bennett would be real happy with that. And that's the rest of the story. And now you know who Antonio Dominic Benedetto is and what he is all about. Thank you, Tony Bennett.